name is Tom Fritz, and I am a Project Lead the Way teacher here at Ellis for Automation Robotics 2, and I'm also the Ellis Robotics coach.
What I requested for my grant was materials that we could put into a room that we have in the office where students can come to calm down, relax, or process when they're feeling emotionally overwhelmed.
We requested a new drum set to use for primarily jazz band and also some concert band.
We requested books for the all-school read here at Ellis Middle School. The title was Drums, Girls, and Dangerous Pie.
We requested from the Austin Public Education Foundation a grant to purchase controllers, remote controls for our robots, as well as VexNet keys.
We at Ellis requested in the Social Studies Department high interest reading material, and I would say it's more on the multicultural side of things, and so we wanted something that our students could relate to a little bit better, and I think that it's been a real success for our social studies program this year.
This is a nice space that students can come to that's very different from the rest of the school. It's very quiet, it has low lighting, and we have filters over the fluorescent lighting. So this is an area where students can come and just unwind if they're feeling a lot of anxiety, or sometimes students go there when they're having problems with anger management, and it's just an area for them to take a break from the rest of the day and what's going on in the school building.
The drum set was really needed in our program. The old drum set was pretty old, kind of falling apart, and the maintenance that it needed was going to be very, very costly. And so having this drum set has provided an instrument to multiple students and given them the opportunity to play on a quality instrument to help them grow as a young musician.
One of the words that we used often this year in our geography class was perspective, and so what the books did is they offered a variety of perspectives from around the globe, particularly with stories about usually kids, our kids' age, or more relatable stories, and so it was a really cool mix of world perspectives into our geography curriculum, and then it allowed kids to see the world from different places, and so that was kind of half the fun this year, was to work that in with our kind of theme, which is perspective every year.
The all-school read is where each advisory teacher gets a novel, and we read to our advisory kids or homeroom kids. And we try to choose books that will give kids a good experience and learn a life lesson. And this year we actually did a service project in connection with our novel.
It allows us to perform a variety of things, such as, if you look in the background here, we have a field, and this allows the students to be able to program their robots to communicate with the remote control.
The books were from a lot of different reading levels, so we had graphic novels, we had more short stories, we had some that were pretty complex and maybe difficult to read, and kids can choose the book at their level, and so that was one successful part as well.
We donated over 650 items to the Children's Hospital of Minnesota this year. We also had a box decorating contest to kind of drum up support for that, and we did that right before Christmas. The novel is about a 13-year-old boy who has to deal with his younger brother going through leukemia, and so we thought this was a good way to connect character building with the novel.
I think just having the opportunity to have the money to purchase the number of books that we purchased was really important. We basically picked out the same set of books, but we bought 3 sets for all 3 classes. So we have the same books, but they're in the 3 different classes, and I think that was important also to have common books in all of our classes, so that our kids had something to choose from, so that if one student was like, hey, I read this book, this is really cool, they could tell another student that this might be a book that you might be interested in, and they would have access to that in any of our classrooms.
These grants are great because they really are a catch-all for things that we don't always think about funding through different department money that we have. And they fund so many different things that it's really fun to see how different teachers and staff use these materials in different ways.
I know that the foundation has provided a lot of materials to students and that otherwise wouldn't be able to have them. And we're very grateful for their support, and a lot of the things that we're doing in Austin Public Schools is not possible without their help.
I think any time that we can provide students with an opportunity to interact with things, particularly literary pieces that are not textbook, that's something outside of the textbook, is a really cool thing. And so in this case, being able to have a chance to provide kids with novels and graphic novels, whatever it might be, that's a really cool opportunity for them to have those right here and not have to leave the classroom to have access to those.
It's going to allow students to become more excited about being in the automation robotics class. When they are involved in more hands-on activities, fun activities such as building a claw bot and controlling it with a remote, excitement like that travels. Kids talk during lunch and may even convince other students here in this school to maybe take a course, take this course, and just allow students to be involved in more STEM type classes and be challenged.
APE certainly helps us provide a little bit extra or more efficient learning and education for our students.
And just in general, there's a number of things outside of our ability to purchase as a department, so it's really nice to be able to have those funds to do things that are a little bit outside of the box, I guess.
Music education, especially in this developmental stage in their life, is really, really important. It provides a lot of life skills other than just music knowledge. Things like teamwork and discipline, and we try to instill that in our students at this young age.
The reason why I think it's a good idea that people support the Austin Public Education Foundation is because it supports additional things that the normal budgets within our buildings won't cover. It's also a nice way for the community to become involved in some sense in the support of the academics in our schools.
I think it's a really great thing when people can support this foundation, because this money goes to materials and programs that directly impact the students in a lot of different ways. Academically, in our case for our grant, social, emotional, and behaviorally. It's just a way that you can give money and know that it's definitely going to be impacting students in the district.
If you're interested in helping out students, this is a great way to contribute to the success and the growth of these young students.
It's a great organization. It really impacts our kids. Our students really got into the all-school read this year, and we were lucky to be able to bring that to them.
I think one of the coolest things that came out of having these novels for students to access in class was to be surprised by new readers. And so I would highly encourage, anytime we can support reading and kids to be able to have a choice in what they want to read, or a choice in what they want to pursue academically, that's a really cool thing to fund. That's a really cool thing to support. Every class period, I definitely have kids that are good readers, but every class period I had kids that don't necessarily love reading, but they liked this. And so it was really, really fun to watch that growth. And that sort of growth is always something that, as a community, both as a whole community and a community of teachers, we really want to support. So.
Thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you guys are able to continue to support us for years to come.